So you've watched all of YouTube's other Bible study methods with their complicated methods, color-coded highlighters and elaborated systems, but somehow you still ended up here, which tells me that those methods worked about as well for you as they worked for me. They didn't. I know because I was there. I tried every Bible in a year plan, even attempted the Bible podcast while running. All that happened was I got sore legs. I think I made it to day 3 or maybe day 4 if I was feeling ambitious. But here's what changed everything for me. And it has nothing to do with acronyms or perfect systems. It's about approaching the Bible like you're an archaeologist, not a student cramming for an exam. Let me tell you about my spectacular failed Bible study failures. Reading plans? Failed. Bible apps with daily reminders? Ignored them. That year I thought I'd be clever and listen to the Bible podcasts while running. Well, it turns out my brain can't process ancient Jewish genealogies while also trying not to trip over. Maybe that sounds familiar. You start out full of enthusiasm. You even buy a fancy journal for Bible notes. Day 1, flying. Day 2, you're a theologian. Day 3, you're knee deep in a passage about someone's cousin's, uncle's, auntie's land inheritance. And you're thinking, how exactly is this supposed to change my life? Here's the trap. The internet is full of people telling you the right way to study the Bible, the SOAP method, the inductive approach, verse mapping. Half of them sound like they were made up by someone who missed writing university dissertations. And most of these methods, they're just anxiety with a fancy name. Here's what nobody told me. The Bible isn't a self-help manual. It's not a theology textbook. It's a collection of stories. And stories only make sense if you read them for context, for flow, and for connection. Once I stopped trying to squeeze deep meaning out of every single verse and started reading for the bigger story, everything made sense. And here's the good news. You don't need a degree in theology for this. You just need the right toolkit. So let's open it up. Step 1, choose your dig site. Remember how I kept failing by day 3 of those reading plans? That's because someone else was choosing what I read, when, and how much. So here's your permission slip. Start where you're curious. Pick a passage that grabs your attention. It could be one story or one short book. Step 2, the surface survey. When archaeologists first arrive on site, they don't start hacking away at the dirt. They walk around. They look. They notice. That was my problem during the Bible while running experiment. I was distracted. I never stopped just to look at what was in front of me, in more ways than one. So before you dig, pause, ask, who's here? What's happening? What's the vibe? Who's this written by, to, about? You might be surprised at how much jumps out just from that first look. Step 3, start your excavation. Now the fun part. Instead of panicking about the spiritual lesson like it's one hidden answer key, ask story questions. What happened right before this? What details feel a bit odd? What's not being said? Who has the power here and who doesn't? Here's a personal example. I used to read the story of Jesus sleeping through a storm and think, yes, the moral is trust God during storms. Now, I still think that's a takeaway, but I also noticed this guy was so physically exhausted, he could sleep through a life-threatening storm. It tells me something powerful about Jesus' humanity, and somehow that makes him more relatable. I'll never forget the day I read about Jesus cursing the fig tree. I just sat there thinking, what kind of person gets angry at fruit? Old me would have panicked, frantically Googling fig tree spirituality and feeling stupid that I didn't get it right away. New me, I just sat with it. I thought, that's interesting. I don't understand it yet, but it's interesting. Here's my 3-option strategy for moments like that. Research the site. Look up context, but set a timer so that you don't fall down a YouTube rabbit hole. Consult fellow archaeologists. Ask a friend, a pastor, or an online community. Catalogue and move on. Some discoveries they don't make sense right away. That fig tree? Months later, I was reading about corruption in the temple system, and suddenly, the whole thing made sense. But if I hadn't been okay with not knowing immediately, I probably would have quit before I got there. Here's what I learned from all of my failed 3-day attempts. Consistency beats intensity every single time. I'd rather sit with one story a week and actually think about it than rush through 3 chapters a day and remember nothing. So I use what I call the one artifact rule. Every time you read, just take away one thing. It could be Jesus got tired, or David admitted that he was scared, or Paul had a temper. You don't need to collect every possible insight every time you read. Just carry one artifact with you through the week and know when to stop. Old me felt guilty about stopping early. New me, if I'm checking my watch or my phone more often than I'm paying attention, I either turn off the phone or it's time to call it a day with the reading. Good archaeologists know when to pack up their tools. All those failed Bible plans taught me something. I wasn't really trying to understand the Bible. I was trying to complete the Bible. But the Bible isn't a mountain to conquer. It's a conversation to join. So what's one biblical artifact you've uncovered that surprised you? Or if you're just starting, what passage are you curious to dig into? Drop it in the comments. I read every single one. And if this took the pressure off and gave you permission to enjoy Scripture, hit subscribe. Next week we're getting practical about some of the tools that make this process easier. My wife asked me a question that completely changed my outlook on Bible study, and I'll show you exactly what we did. When we hit 1,000 subscribers, I'll do a live Q&A for all your questions. I'm not going to guarantee I've got all the answers, but I'll be there, and I hope you will be too. My name's Jacob, and this might be church.